you? I guess every year you're optimistic. Is there any reason for you to be more optimistic this year than maybe last year or 2 years ago or any other season of your career?
Yeah, every year is a new year. New beginnings on a new team. We're at the 90-man roster, and unfortunately, we have to, dwindle the roster down until we get our, 53-man roster. So it's a sad day. Also a good day because we get to start the season off and get ready for Jacksonville, and we're just excited. We're ready to go. But at the end of the day, I was once one of these guys that got released, and it's devastating because your hopes and dreams are right there in front of you, and then when you get that phone call, it just seems like that's the lasting memory. I remember when I was in Philly and got that phone call. Fortunately, I was the last guy in the building to receive that phone call, and it changed my life, just the business side, the perspective side, and you just got to grow and learn and become a better player when teams are making those decisions. So I was able to stick with it, and to all the guys out there, I just hope the best for them, especially on this team, because we had a good roster of guys that came in, played their tails off and did everything they possibly could to make a roster spot. But like I said, it's the business aspect. So,
how long did it take you to pick yourself up off the floor and get motivated again?
Yeah, I learned quickly. I'm a quick learner in that regard, just because I know, coming in when I was a rookie, I knew that it was a business aspect, business mindset. That's how I took it, and I didn't take it personal. And I would tell people all the time that one thing that I truly was blessed about was that I didn't burn bridges. Because those same bridges that you keep a hold of and keep them strong, they come around tenfold. And so that was the case for me when I went from Philly, and then Chip Kelly was in San Francisco at the time the following year, and guess what? I made a mark at San Fran. So I could live to say that don't burn those bridges and learn from it.
Running back room is going to be some tough choices.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know for sure. Jeff Wilson, could you make the case for Jeff Wilson being on this team?
Yeah, I'm always gonna have Jeff's back. I think that he's one heck of a player. He does everything right. Unfortunately, he had some injuries and stuff like that, but I still think that he's in. I mean, at least from what I've seen, he's in good standing. But you never know in that regard. I'm not in the office helping out with the decisions, but film doesn't lie, and Jeff has a good resume.
What has impressed you about Jalen Wright, and what are your expectations for him?
Yeah, Jalen Wright, he's coming in. At first he was a little bit slower because he's a rookie, right? So the pace of the game and understanding the concepts, but he's picking things up. I mean, this last preseason game, I thought he did a good job. He could do better, of course, but he did a good job in his resilience to overcome a few things, and his mental aspect was definitely there. So I'm looking forward to that for sure.
I've been always meaning to ask you this. You guys have such a good running back room in terms of helping guys, mentoring guys, even though there's only one ball for you. How do you keep that room the way that it is?
Yeah, I would say, obviously it's experience, right? I've been in this offense for quite some time, and even when I was in this offense at the beginning, it was more so of a brotherhood. The NFL, whether people believe it or not, is a fraternity of brothers. And in your position group, that's the same thing. And that's the mindset that you kind of got to have, in regards to your position, because at the end of the day, we're all trying to feed our families. We're all trying to do what's right for each other, and we're trying to do right for the team. And you can't have anybody that's a me player, obviously, because those me players get weeded out, as you've seen in the past. So just having that mindset that it takes everybody in the group, that goes a long way. And, man, we're all just, at the end of the day, brothers, and it's a brotherhood.
The team went from 31st in rushing attempts 2 years ago to 15th in team rushing attempts last year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see top 10 in rushing attempts in the Dolphins' future?
Yeah, we just keep climbing the ladder. It seems like in this offense. You know, I can't predict that right now, but you know, it'd be nice to have that. You know, get in the top 10 and rush attempts and you know, lead the cavalry in that regard. Just excited about this season.
There's so much talk on the defensive side about being more physical and being bullies. When I think about being more physical and being bullies on offense, it means the run game.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys sense that there is that similar commitment to being physical, aggressive, run set minded on offense?
Yeah, and this style offense, you know, of course we got playmakers all across the board, but we feel like to set the tone, you know, it's definitely the run game, and that's what gets the party started. And then, of course, you know, we got some unbelievable receivers out there and tight ends that can just, you know, take the top off at any moment. So as long as you have that understanding that, you know, we're gonna play smash mouth ball at the beginning and set our tone, then that's what you know, you're able to dictate the outcome of the game. So that's just our mindset for this offense.
Something Alex said a couple weeks ago, that you guys were pushing the limits of what this offense can do, and you know, hearing from Frank, I think it was last week, about how year 3 in a system, how you can start to expand a little bit. Mm-hmm. What does pushing the limits of an offense look like from a player's perspective in this third year?
Yeah, that's a great question. I truly think that, you know, pushing the limits means in this offense, you know, it means that you're doing things that are unconventional, not only for a player, like for myself, but for the entire offense. You know, if you look at what we're doing doing these motions that has never been done before. We're executing them at a high rate. You know, we're doing things that, you know, most defenses, like I was just talking to the Bucs defense and Levante David, right, last week when we had joint practices, and we were able to conversate a little bit in between breaks. And one of the things that he brought up was our motions. You know, that kind of just it left a visual that it was hard for him to paint that picture where everybody's going to be at, because you got, you know, guys going left and right and up and down, and you never know, you know, what it looks like from a defensive standpoint. And that's our thing, is like we want to make the defense, you know, we want them getting out of their shell, being confused, you know, not understanding this offense, because if that happens, that means you're doing it at a fast rate. And that's something that's never been done. So, you know, just trying to be unconventional, trying to do something, you know, that's unique and different, and just trying to hold that title as being number one offense in the league.
Last question.
What's new about Tua this year?
Pardon me?
What's new about Tua this year?
Yeah, man, I mean, other than his contract. No, I'm just super excited for him, and his growth and his mindset. You know, these past 2 years and going on to this third year, you know, he's settled down in this offense, and he's really picking things up at a high rate, and he's doing things that, you know, he feels comfortable at. And if you look at how he's possessing the ball and he's getting the throws out, I mean, there's really not any quarterback that's in the league that's doing what he's doing. And it's exciting to see. And I'm just excited for him this year. You know, we're gonna be hitting the ground running and high flying, and, you know, keep that mentality.
Thank you, Raheem.
Yeah, I also want to bring up the team. Yeah, the team security. You know, this is a fraternity in itself. You know, with Larry and Drew and all the guys. You know, they do a great job. You know, we're all one, and we're all a part of this organization. And, you know, we're just trying to do our best to protect the organization. And that's what this badge of honor means right here. So shout out to team security, Larry and Drew, all the guys that hold it down for us. So
I don't think you took a day off during training camp. Am I missing?
Not to my knowledge, no. That's just, you know, one thing my mom and dad always raised me: work as hard as you can. And there's guys that need those days, and I'm blessed enough I haven't needed that yet in my career. So the point where I'm at, I wanted to make sure I was out there taking the reps, taking charge, making sure everyone was right up front, and working with those guys and building that camaraderie in the D-line room. So it's been great. It's been a blessing this camp to be able to get through healthy, and I'll be excited for the season has in store.
What have you learned about this defense in the last month?
Man, it's exciting. Love the multiplicity of it. Love how we can work off each other very well. It's awesome seeing guys fly around, working together, seeing how we're just intertwined as a front seven and back end, and making sure we're combining the rushing coverage of the defense.
Have you talk to some of the younger players? I mean, you were once that could be cut today. You were
Yeah.
once that guy
Yeah.
on the back end of a roster. A team tried to sneak you on the practice squad and you got poached. What do you say to a guy today that
No, yeah, it's obviously a tough day. Worst time of year in football. Everyone knows it. I think Wednesday is one of the hardest days because you see the difference in the team. You know who's here and who's not here. You congratulate those who aren't here, and I always try to make sure I reach out and give support to those who aren't here. You know, I tell them that there's a plan. You put your head down, keep working. Anyone can work through it. There's a lot of guys in this team that have gone through that and they have made it in the NFL. Raheem Mostert, Jordan Poyer, myself. There's guys that get cut left and right and takes 3, 4, 5, 6 times before you find a home and find where you fit in a defense or with a coach that you figure it out with him. So I just tell the guys to keep their head up and just keep working. There's nothing to mope about. The fact of the matter is you got to the NFL, period. You were in a whole camp, you were in an NFL jersey, you did preseason games. That alone is hard enough. I mean, I think the stats like 0.02% of all high school football players make it to the NFL or even get a shot at the NFL. So that in itself is a huge accomplishment. And that's why you make sure those guys know that.
what was your breakthrough?
I think the biggest thing for me was after getting cut the second time up in Baltimore, coming down here was just put it on the line. Coming down here, there's 3 weeks left of the season. I didn't know the defense. I didn't know what was going on. And I just said, you know what, let's just go out there and play. Don't overthink and just go play ball. And in those few games, was able to play, make enough plays where they wanted to keep me for another year. And then that offseason, they brought down Austin Clark, and I was able to work with him and Marion Hobby, the two D-line coaches here, to help get my technique right and learn how to mesh in this defense that we had prior. And just slowly learn from there. And I think where I'll be able to grow as a player on the field, my technique and my knowledge to be able to work off any defense. I mean, obviously we had a couple in here, and I'm really excited for this season.
You've been through a whole training camp
Mhm.
with Anthony Weaver's system.
Yeah.
What's one thing you learned that really excites you?
Yeah, what's really exciting about it is how we can be multiple in all of our different packages and options, and how we can change what we're doing to affect offenses and set the tempo how we want to set it, and make them adjust to us.
Zach, what's it been like to have Calais Campbell around for a camp now?
Oh, it's awesome. To have that kind of experience is such a blessing where to be able to bounce off him, hey, what are you seeing, or how'd you play this, or what are you doing here? I don't think there's anyone on the defensive side of the football in the NFL, period, that's seen more defense than he has. I think it's an accomplishment to him and a testament to his training and keeping his body right to be able to play this long, as well as his straight up grit. I mean, that's awesome. And so it's been awesome to play off him and help me learn as a player on and off the field. He's taught me a lot. We sit down and talk a lot about leadership and how to affect the young guys off the field. I mean, he knows where he's at and he knows where I'm at, and he's like, look, it's your time to work, and I'm trying to make sure I do that. Make sure to be more vocal and help the guys make the adjustments and learn on the field, whether it's here or not here. I mean, this next 24, 48 hours, a lot can happen and a lot of things can shake up. So it's exciting to work with him.
Zach, I'm doing something on you guys' depth, and it's obviously been a key the last couple of years, helping you get to the playoffs. You know all the injuries that you guys have had. As a reserve, tell me about the mindset that you have to have, because you usually come in a stressful situation, right? The starter is out, maybe other guys are looking at you in the huddle like, can he do it? But what's that mentality like?
I think the biggest part of that is stressing those and it's tough, but it's stressing the game-like scenarios during practice. It's putting yourself in the hardest situations, hardest looks during practice. When the game, it's easy, and then making sure not to slouch in your technique or whatever. It's very easy as a guy that's a reserve or whatever to just kind of go through the motions. Give looks to the offense, do your job. Okay, good job, and just move on to the next week. I think the biggest part is staying ready and studying the tape. I mean, it's tough to sit there and watch the tape and study the guys, knowing, hey, look, I might only get 5 or 6 plays or no plays, but making sure you're ready. I mean, that first year I came down here after those 3 games, that first game I was like, hey, look, you're probably going to be down this week. You're not going to be dressed. Saturday morning, it's like, hey, look, someone went down. You're going to be up. Here you go. I got 5 plays. It was goal line situations. I mean, it's make or break it. It's a 7-point play right there. So it's being ready in those situations. And from there, it was just kind of slow, 5, 10, 15 plays each week, kind of built up. So that's the biggest thing I tell guys is to be ready and stay ready no matter what.
Chubb and Good are going to be on PUP to start the season. Mike told us today.
Okay.
Young guys like Chop and Mo. What does this opportunity present for them?
It's great. It's great. I mean, those guys. It's been awesome to work with them all camp. Usually, I don't usually, rookies coming in and kind of rotate here and there. But those guys been in every play. So it's been awesome to work with them and play off them and learn how to take their game to the next level. So, excuse me. It'll be really exciting to work with them this season and these weeks coming up with Will Chubb is down to get him right or to stay right and to get ready and to play in those big games.
Zach, we've asked you a couple of times this offseason about the guys filling in for Christian.
Mhm.
I'm curious, have you found the energy that maybe Christian brought? Is there guys that have stepped that?
Yeah, obviously Christian is a huge energy on a field in everything he does, and I think we talked about it as a D line. Like, look, people are gone, new people are here. Some people are still here from last year. I think as a unit, the goal was we need to step up and bring that energy as a unit, not one guy and to bring the energy, but all of us bring it every day. And I think we did a great job doing that this camp.
What growth have you seen from Sean Hand?
It's been awesome. He's just worked on his craft, worked on his technique, all off season, all last year, and then all camp. And man, he's been super impressive. I don't know if there's a stronger guy out there. Seeing some of the plays he makes, that man he's a load. And he's done a great job at learning how to work off each other, play off each other, and kind of play freely, as in making the defense work for you and learning how to make those plays that would come to you and not to stress, not that he was doing this, but not to stress plays that weren't coming your way. That's an issue sometimes with guys, is trying to work or force a play when there doesn't need to be. The calls will dictate what time's your time and what time's not. So it's been great to see guys grow, and especially Deshaun grow in his game.
To follow up on Karen's question, how much are you taking that upon yourself to be an energy guy like Christian was previously?
Yeah, obviously I was always a quieter, put my head down guy, but as the years have gone on, I've tried to be more vocal. Obviously, when you're a guy like Christian, you don't really need to be, but learning from that and learning from other guys and talking with Calais and just, like I said, the whole room trying to be more vocal and be more outspoken so we can be a dominant unit up front.
With Benito being sort of sidelined by injury, are you guys capable of filling that nose position? I've seen Calais in there a little bit, and I'm like, he's kind of big for a nose.
I think that's kind of a double question. I definitely think Calais can play nose. He's got all the size for all the strength for it. I've played down there. But, I mean, truthfully, a guy like Peely, who's worked his way through the ranks the last 2 years, he's done an amazing job this camp growing his game and bringing it to the next level, as well as Deshaun Hand. Like I said, he's one of the strongest guys I've seen. Both those guys, I think, could do a great job filling in for me, Benito, while he's down, and taking those reps and working off each other. And then that's part of this defense, too, is just being able to be multiple where anyone can play anywhere. I mean, I played a ton of nose last year as well. So I think we got the depth there to make that work until, obviously, Benito's a great player and it's hard to fill those shoes, but we can make it work.
Zach, a question out of left field here. Tua made some headlines last week when he made comments about his relationship with Brian Flores. Was that a topic in the locker room? Did anybody say anything? I'm glad you spoke up, or anything like that?
No, I haven't heard it. I think everyone has their own feelings, and that was his feelings, and everyone's completely right in whatever feelings they have. I mean, that's your feelings. You own your feelings. That's how you are. So I think I didn't read the article. I see headlines. I don't know exactly what it was said, but I think everyone's moved on. Everyone's on their own way, and hopefully everyone's become a better person from good or bad experience in their life. And I think that's the way to take any experience you have. So